So when I first got into the oil field, I had a interview with an older guy. It was kind of like a mid-year checkup when I first gotten hired. And I remember he asked me where I saw myself in 10 to 15 years. And I told him I'll probably be doing the same thing. And he said, what do you mean? He said, you don't have any dreams of moving up in the company? And I said, no, not really. I was like, I'll work mine 10, 15 years out here and I'll retire. And I remember that he was probably in his 50s or 60s, and he just started laughing. He laughed in my face. It was just me and him sitting in this truck. And all he said was, good luck, kid. And I said, yeah, man, I'm not going to need your luck. I was like, I got a plan. So today I'm actually going to be talking about how I plan to retire by 35 years old. I am currently 26 and I am working in the oil field, and I'm going to go over kind of what my finances look like right now and what I plan for them to look like within the next 10 years. So number one, let's talk about my income and how much I'm spending every month. So my current income averages about $8,500 take home per month, and I'd like to keep my expenses just below $4,500. So it allows me to put about $4,000 on an average into savings account, investments, so on. We're going to talk about all of those here in a little bit. So I'm able to put almost half of my income, if not more of my income, into some type of investment. And my primary home takes up half of that monthly expenses. So $2,000 goes to my house that I am recording in right now. And the rest of that is my bills, utilities. I just paid off my car, so I no longer have a car payment. That's pretty cool. Still have to pay insurance though. And yeah, I have no other debt outside of my two houses, and one of them is a rental property, so that debt's covered every single month. And I make a little bit of a profit, about $300. So going over that, I do want to say I only count my income as oil field income. That is my job, that is my W-2, that is what is guaranteed. YouTube income, Amazon income, TikTok income, all my social medias, any money I make trading, all that fun stuff, I never count that in my budget. That's not my money. That goes straight to investments. That counts as my overtime money. All right, let's get into the fun stuff, right? Let's talk about my investments. Let's talk about how I actually plan to retire by 35. So number one is the most obvious one, a 401k. I'm debating going up on my 401k just a little bit because currently I put in 6% of my income, which last year I made $170,000. So 6% is a good chunk. Also, my company matches me at 6%, and then they give me another 6%. So I'm all in at 6%. That is pre-tax income. It is a traditional 401k. And my company gives me 12. So I'm all in at 18% on my 401k. Currently, I'm sitting at $53,000. I've only had it for the last 2 years. This is the first 401k I've ever had access to, so I have only had that for 2 years. We're at $53,000. I'm thinking it's about $30,000 a year or something like that. Next is my Roth IRA that I literally just opened up 2 weeks ago because I had no idea I could do a Roth. I always heard that I made too much money to do a Roth. Nobody around me ever did one. And then I looked it up, and thank you to ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT for a lot of my financial questions, and it was like, hey, you should do a traditional to Roth, a conversion, a backdoor Roth. And I had no idea this was a thing. Yes, it is post-tax, and it doesn't count against my income because it's post-tax, but it is still a tax-advantaged account. And currently, I just put it in $14,500. I maxed out 2025, 2026, and I'm sitting at $15,500. So I've already made $500 of a locked-in profit, and I'm up another $500. So currently, my Roth is set up into an 80-20 split, 80% going into long-term holdings, and the other 20 is my fun play-around money. And I'm not doing anything risky with it. We'll talk about it in a second. My current long-term holdings are only two ETFs. That is going to be QQQM and then VOO, VOO. VOO is the S&P 500 tracker for Vanguard, and QQQM is that NASDAQ or something? It's the top 100 tech companies, and QQQ is the more volatile version of QQQM, which is a little less volatile, more for long-term growth, and it has a lower fee to hold. I believe it's like 0.15 rather than 0.2, so it's a better long-term hold than QQQ in my opinion. So this is me like 10 minutes down the road when I realized I didn't tell you guys what my other 20% in my Roth was. So the 80% is long-term holdings. 20% is my fun money. Let's talk about the fun money. Currently, I have about $2,000 in SoFi and $1,500 or so into Ford. I am about to sell my SoFi shares because I did a covered call with both of those, the Ford and the SoFi. I have 100 shares of each. I did a covered call with them to get some premiums, and I'm looking into the wheel strategy. It has been very, very interesting. It's a way to make a little bit of money while holding on to shares. You got to do it in a smart way, obviously. But it was very interesting to me. So I was like, I'll play around with it. I'll take 20% of my income. And this seems like a very safe thing to do as long as I'm not selling puts. I was like, if I do covered calls, this is safe. It's like, what do I miss out on? A little bit of gains? I'm fine with that, right? So currently my SoFi shares are about to get called away, right? I'm going to end up selling those. It's about 20 cents above what I thought it would be. So I'm going to end up losing my shares on that. I'll make about $150 profit, and I'll turn the more expensive SoFi into more Ford. So I'll get 200 shares of Ford. It's more stable. It's not as volatile. So the returns come down just a little bit, but Ford also pays dividends, which SoFi doesn't. So I'll not only be getting dividends while holding Ford, but I'll be getting premiums by doing covered calls in this wheel strategy, also by holding Ford. So the extra couple $100, I'll probably throw it into QQQM or maybe TSPY. TSPY is an ETF that they do the covered calls and all that stuff on their own portfolio, and they pay you a very high dividend for it. I think it's like 15% or something like that. And they pay monthly. So the way I'm trying to set it up is that I know I can only put in $7,500 per year. If I can make $500 in a year, that exponentially increases my Roth IRA gains, and it means I don't have to put money in to continue to grow it, which is my goal. I don't want to have to sell things to continue to grow it because I want to just hold them forever. And if I do sell things, it's at 20%. It is that Ford, which it actually will all be Ford now. So 20% of my income on Roth is Ford, and the other 80% is long-term holdings. And with the Ford, I plan to use it to collect dividends and also scale my account using covered call in the wheel strategy. So there you go. Those are both of my retirement accounts, my 401k and my Roth IRA. Both of those are set up. Who knows if I'll ever really need them. I plan not to need them and just let them continue to stack in the background. That would be my preferred method. So here comes the really fun stuff. My goal when I started in the oil field, well, it wasn't really when I started. I went broke at 20 years old. I've talked about it on my TikTok. I was making roughly $80,000 a year and half the year, and I went broke during COVID because I couldn't find another job when we got released. So after that, I decided to write down a retirement plan and then also find a safer career in the oil field. So I'm in a very stable job right now. I could hold on to this for my entire life if I wanted to, and my retirement plan. So I have a really stable job, and now I can really chase this plan. My plan was to buy a house every single year when it was possible for me. So that became possible for me when I turned 25. So now I have a 10-year plan. It kicked in. I am now able to pursue this plan of buying one rental property per year. Very conservative numbers in my area is $500 in profit per month. That a lot of people think that's crazy. Literally, if I put 20% down on my first house, I would be profiting $800 right now. If I did 20% down on my house right now, I'd be profiting almost $900. It's very possible to do 500. Most houses in my area are 500, and when I do the math in most places in Texas, it's about $500 a month on a very conservative number. You should probably expect more. So that goal of buying one house per year would put me at $5,000 worth of income off of rental property profits every single month. I can live off that. Like I said at the start of this video, my retirement plan relies on a cash flow thing, and my monthly expenses are just below $4,500 for me to do whatever I wanted. That is my credit card purchases, that is my luxury spending, that is my bills. Everything falls below $4,500. At $5,000 of just rental property income, not even including social media and all that fun stuff, I could be done if I wanted to, right? That's the goal. That is my retirement plan. But that does not include the fact that I'm also eyeballing some businesses. I would love to start an event center. Those make a lot of money. I would also love to start a RV park. I know a guy out here that is profiting almost $10,000 a month off his RV park. I could build one of those, and that's going to be my next investment, is an RV park. If I can swap this year, buying a house for building an RV park. That is what I'm going to do. I'm very, very excited about that. So after my retirement accounts, after the real estate and the businesses, the leftover money that I have gets thrown into gold and silver. I absolutely love those investments. We've been on a climb recently. I haven't bought any. But I do have about a $30,000 portfolio in gold and silver, physical gold and silver. And then I also have another $30,000 portfolio in crypto, which mostly XRP, XLM. I like the Ripple chain. I really believe in that. Again, this is all just my opinions. This is what I'm doing with my money. I'm not a professional by any means. I'm just a dude with a goal and a dream and a little bit of a work ethic. So yeah, that is my plan to retire by 35 years old by working in the oil field. You know, I have a pretty stable job. It's pretty easy. I'm able to do it year after year. I work with coworkers that are significantly older than me. They're still doing it. They really love it. It's pretty laid back. And it allows me to really pursue this retirement plan that I have. And then on top of that, we're building these accounts, this oil and cash, my personal YouTube. I have a gaming YouTube. I have all the social medias, the TikToks, like 3 different accounts. We're doing a lot of stuff. And all of this is to pursue a better future. And it is to pursue an early retirement or more freedom in my future years. But I think, if everything stays the same and my expenses stay about the same, $4,500 a month, I could retire in 10 years, very realistically. And hopefully my 401k continues to grow, and obviously my Roth, I'm very excited about that. So yeah, that's everything. That is my retirement plan. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. If you guys have any tips or tricks or whatever, give me a holler. Leave them down below. I love talking about money. If you guys have any cool ideas, I'd be more than happy to look into it, and I hope this inspired some people. It's what I'm doing in my own life. I'm very proud of it, and I'm very excited for it. So yeah, you guys have a good one. I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you guys all for the support. We're over 1,300 followers on this account. We just hit the YouTube partner program. We're not monetized for views quite yet. We're gonna need another 1,000 watch hours. So I'm gonna try to pump out a couple videos here in the next couple weeks, and hopefully we'll reach that. So thank you guys all for the support. If you guys want to check us out on any other social medias, you have Cody Overcash on everything. I use my name. And then also my dad there on TikTok is the Grumpy Old Vet or something like that. So yeah, you guys have a good one. Appreciate you guys.